Yeah, I was gonna say it hadn't done anything
There we
on
go, we're
Facebook
live.
or on YouTube.
Hello and welcome to a Midweek Gaming 52. We're back once again on Wednesday. I just want to say big shout out to Spooky Sprocket, who's doing really well. He's made some serious progress because it's a bad situation, but I'm glad, I'm sure the rest of the lads are, that he's making some very good progress, and he's woke up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Amen to that. Yep.
Keep it up, mate. Hope you fight it off and get better. Bit worrying. That was a very worrying situation, that was. But I'm glad to see he's making progress. So well done, mate. You've got a guest this week, back from the dead. How are you doing? You are the first guest of this year. You are. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Been just trying to enjoy my vacation, play a lot of games. Been playing a lot of Stardew Valley and a little bit of Destiny 2, and just bounce around from between games and working on my Twitch channel a little bit. Created some sub badges and emotes and a free version of Photoshop I found. So yeah, a little bit of everything right now.
That's all right then. That is good to hear. Do you have any subs on Twitch then? Do you?
Yeah, I've got about 4 subs right now. It's not that much.
It's a start, isn't it?
But yeah, everybody's got to start somewhere, and then
you got subs badges.
Just hit 100 followers, so
that's nice.
Once I hit a certain point, I'll be able to give free emotes to people who just follow. So I have to wait for that to go through. But yeah, it's been great, and like you were just saying, it was great to hear about the news about Spooky Sprocky yesterday. I was very fortunate that the 4th episode of his community spotlight, Spooky's Dark Wasteland, I was able to guest on that. That was a really fun 3-hour one-on-one interview I was able to do with him. So it'll be great to see him back around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it'll be a while, but it's the fact that he's woken up is the big step. It is.
Yeah, that's the thing they were worrying about, wasn't it? And it's the brain activity.
That's what I was worried about. I mean, I'll be honest. I'll be quite upset. Me, I've been crying a lot of the time. I know I'm not a grown man, but he's a good bloke. I didn't like to. We're not going to talk about what happened, but it's a very, fucking heartbreaking situation. You know what I mean? But I'm really glad he's pulled through. So he's making good progress.
Hopefully there are no lasting effects like memory loss or anything like that, which can happen with brain injuries.
I know. Hopefully. But yeah.
Touch wood.
Exactly. So where should we go? How are you doing, Cerebral Paul? You all right,
mate? I'm doing okay. Another Wednesday, more gaming. Been doing lots of gaming and streaming lately. Especially I've been streaming my playthrough of Mass Effect 3 because I didn't play it when it first came out all those years ago. So I'm enjoying it like a brand new game, and it's really cool so far. I've got probably 25 or so hours into it right now.
Nice.
Are you liking it so far?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot. That's one of the reasons I don't play it off stream. Anytime you see me streaming it, I'm seeing it for the first time.
Okay, that's good though.
So.
That is.
Yep.
But problem is with them games, obviously you probably doesn't bother you, but you'll get someone go, and someone will tell you what to do in the comments. Like,
why didn't you choose this path or this?
Yeah. Luckily, I've had nobody going. Go here, go. I'm like,
no backstage gamers in your streams yet?
Oh yeah. And we all know somebody who's like that too, and then we've all gamed with him. Yeah. So, let's put it this way: he's
Hey,
into
not
Belgian
me.
waffles.
I'm not
He's into.
Oh, no, it is now. Yeah.
Make sure you go pick that up. Make sure you go. Just let me play the game.
No chance of me
Don't
doing
choose that
Not completed.
option. Oh God, yeah.
Flemish. Good man. He is. He is. So, yeah, sounds good. VJ, how you doing? First show of the year for you. How you there?
Oh, yeah, I'm here. Cheers.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
You been playing many games?
What am I playing? I've been playing games. I'm playing 2 games at the moment. What is it? Unpacked or Unpackaging or something? And
Seen
Final
that. Is that on
Fantasy-
Game Pass?
Yeah, on Game Pass. And I'm
I've
playing
downloaded that.
Final Fantasy 13 on Xbox, and I'm really enjoying it. I saw that Final Fantasy 13 Part 2 had gone up as well, and about a couple of weeks ago. So I was wondering about that, and it just suddenly appeared on Game Pass. So I was really happy
Hang
about
on.
that.
What? So
Hey?
that the one everyone was waiting for has gone through?
Sorry?
You're on about the one. You're on about the one that said it was exclusive to PlayStation for X amount of time.
No,
I think that was 7.
No. This is an Xbox
Oh,
360
sorry.
game from 2000.
Oh, sorry. I'm not into
2009.
Final Fantasy, so I get lost.
And
Yep.
I do.
You got Stubbsy all excited there for a second. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I'm breaking news there.
no, it's a really good game. I'm really enjoying it, and this Part 2's up as well. And I saw that Death's Door as well is coming to Game Pass in a couple of days.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah, like tomorrow, I
tomorrow.
think.
and so
Yeah.
indie gamers
That's
have had a-
interesting because that was a major success in its own right. So fair play. That
Oh,
is.
right.
Yeah.
I love coming on the show. You get interrupted non-stop. Anyway, yeah.
Sorry.
Indie Gamer, was on my case to play the game. So now I can say I'm on the case. So yeah. Thanks for having me on the show again.
This
I'll
could be
try
the
to
last
interrupt
time.
you as much as I can. Yeah, I'll try to interrupt you as much as I can there.
No, he's talking about me. When we're on the phone to each other, he must get wound up with me because I get a bit overexcited at times.
A little.
Like, I stop, yeah.
Whoa. You keep that to yourself. So, yeah, you keep that to yourself.
That's the understatement of the year, and it's only just started.
I know. But no, it's good to have you back on, VJ.
Thank you, sir.
It is, yeah.
It is.
I've been missing
yeah.
you. I haven't seen you on any other podcasts recently.
No, I just had a few things to sort out in the background and stuff. So
That's fair enough.
I was hesitating actually to come back on again because I haven't been on any show for months, I think. So and I kind of enjoyed being off of social media and
They are.
Everyone needs a break.
yeah, and
They
I
do.
kind of hesitated to come on, but I didn't really have any. I actually had a free afternoon today for a change, so I thought, yeah, why not?
Fair enough. Yeah,
I regret it already.
Animated Evil, how are you doing?
Hello. How are we all today? I'm very good. Thank you for having me back yet again. Great to see Back from the Dead guesting with us today.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Yeah, absolutely. Although I'm not on camera today because I'm feeling a little bit under the weather today, so I'm all horrible and. Ugh. But we're good.
That's what you got green screen for, matey.
I know. But,
those big filters.
yeah. But yeah, like Paul as well, I've been playing Mass Effect. Picked that up.
Nice.
As soon as it come on Game Pass, I was going to buy it, but luckily for me, I didn't. Held it off, and I'm playing through the first one again. Other than that, I've not really had time to play much this week. It's been a busy old week.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, I will play that eventually. I will because I'm sure VJ. It's one of VJ's recommended games.
Yeah.
Isn't it, VJ? Definitely, it is.
Mm-hmm. It is a good. Yep.
And
I mean, you've seen Game Pass, so you haven't really got any excuse not to play it.
that is actually true. Yes, it is.
Yeah, but this is Stubbs we're talking about. Games can be in Game Pass. And
But
still
gotta give me my due though. I have actually completed one game this year. I've completed Yakuza Kiwami, but to be fair, I completed probably 10 chapters last year, but I just continued it. So
Yeah, I was going to say you started that quite a while back, so that's not like something you've done in the last month.
Exactly.
Give him his win. He needs
38,
it.
38 hours. Completed the main storyline and a few side missions, and all I get is 17% completion.
I hate games that do that. I really do. It's like, you go through the entire game, do all the side stuff, and you get 250 out of 1,000 gamer score points. You're like, where the hell are they hiding the rest of them? What the?
All multiplayer.
Yeah,
I wasn't going for a lot of the side stories, to be fair, but the main story is quite interesting. But VJ was right; it continues from Yakuza 0. So, it all builds up at the end to a big commotion. You know what I mean? You find out eventually. You do, but
and at the pace you play it, 2024.
25 I was going for, so put your bets in now.
I think you're both being extremely generous.
Removable.
Is it Be Kind to StubzGaming Week?
I think it is, Oh, yes, it is. Yes, hello. I lose myself sometimes in our conversations. Yes, hello. How is everybody? It's great to see, obviously, back from the dead on the show. It's great to see everybody, really. Especially our cerebral. He's wearing my favourite hat as usual to get. But for me, I've been reviewing a few games, so I kind of haven't had a chance to really hit Game Pass hard yet, as I think most people are hitting Game Pass at the moment. But out of the games I have been playing, I have been thoroughly enjoying them.
That's good to hear. That is. The gunk, after your recommendation in your video, I'm finally playing the gunk, and it's quite fun hoovering up gunk.
It is a therapeutic game, yeah. It's a weird one.
It is. Well, it's actually Masuko who's in chat recommended that although I've got a good list of games this year, I might want to try and play some smaller indie games so I can actually complete some. They do help. They do help.
Believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it.
Exactly. Wow. I know what you're saying.
We're all going to be tracking your gamer score now, or your completion.
That's it. Every show now will be like, has it moved forward?
Well, I'm hoping the gunk will be completed by next week's show. Hopefully.
Yeah.
You never know with me. I might have moved on to a different game. This is me we're talking about.
All shiny.
Hopefully not. That's good. And you hit a milestone. You've done 100 reviews now. Very good.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shock for me. I didn't think I'd get. I didn't think I'd get that far, to be honest with you. It's 100 over 100 indie game reviews on the channel. So very thankful that the indie developers and the publishers even give me the chance to review games. But it's a good milestone to have, and I'm hoping to just keep pushing forward and give them the coverage they deserve.
Exactly, that's a good thing. Just do a couple of shout outs. Welcome Pixel Slapper, as he's in chat. Welcome back from the dead, VJ, Masuku. Who else we got? Sure, I've seen Muppet's here. Welcome, and I think that might be it, isn't it?
Back from the dead.
Yeah, back from the dead. I said that already. Muppet likes pineapple on pizza, apparently.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Don't start that topic. Let's leave that to the last thing. Let's go for the non-contentious topics.
So, was there much announced this week? No.
Not a lot. No.
It was so
no,
weak,
not a lot of news this week.
No. I'll be honest. I was like, someone sent me. I was like, what? I read it. I thought this has got to be some kind of little partnership going on. So I read it. I was like, whoa, wow. Yeah,
so between Microsoft and VJ.
So Microsoft are going to a lot of people are wording it. All these different articles are like clickbaiting people. With the way they word it's actually they have the intentions to acquire. They've got, you know what I mean. but a lot of them are saying, "Oh, it's all bought, paid for, signed, sealed." It's
It's not bought, paid for. So nope.
I know it's going to go through all the legal process and that. The lawyers have looked at it. They've roughly worked out when they can get it done by. So it says June 2023 time. That's what they're estimating. But yes, it's very interesting. That is a very interesting topic because
that's a polite way of putting it.
Yes, they just swallowed up Call of Duty, Candy Crush, World of Warcraft, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro. I can't think off the top of my head. Tons of
Gabriel Knight, which I hope they bring back. You know, they actually swallowed up Zork. They actually swallowed up the text adventure Zork.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
See if they bring that back.
Hopefully, some of the IPs that they've left dormant. Hopefully, they can work on some of them IPs. They can.
Yep.
Yeah, because I haven't done anything about StarCraft in quite a while.
Ever since StarCraft 2, yeah.
Well, that's what 2 years. 2 years now. They've had some DLC.
I think longer than that. I think that's longer than that. Yeah.
Is it? Oh Christ! Be good to have some of those RTSs on the system now. Even just some of the old retro one, the original StarCraft.
Also, I don't know if you all saw or know that they picked. It looks like they picked up. I didn't know this. The Sierra Online games, Police Quest, Space Quest, King's Quest, the old point-and-click adventures. Since they've already done it, with the LucasArts titles, it'd be nice to see them bring those titles up too, because those titles are great. Especially Space Quest is amazing.
Yep. Imagine that as a nice package on your Game Pass.
Yeah, that would be very cool.
Everyone's gone quiet. I don't know whether everyone's like salivating or just.
Never heard of them. That's what's like.
Okay, that's it. Shame him now.
Why are we here? Why are we here? Holy crap!
Welcome, Dragon Wolf. Welcome, All Airtime. Welcome, Luke Steele. Thanks for dropping in. But yeah, I've been told off in the past. I'm going to ask the guest back from the dead. Do you like this idea of what's going to be happening with Microsoft acquiring Activision Blizzard?
Absolutely. I think it's obviously great for Game Pass as a whole. Be nice not to have to buy a different Call of Duty every other year. And I mean, you can tell by the background that, I remember playing Tony Hawk back in the N64 and was really happy about when they remade Tony Hawk 1 and 2, so that's another great one. It was a little bit more into Command & Conquer than StarCraft, so it'd be fun if they were able to bring that back and maybe make some new games, and if they can show the RTS's work on console, and they get enough traction there, maybe you can convince EA to bring back Command & Conquer after they drove that into the ground.
And last time I played that was back on.
Well,
and I was a kid.
360. It's on the 360.
No,
the last one.
For PC.
Yeah, PC
in Britain, where you could buy the time computers. My dad bought a time computer. Can you remember Removal? They called Time.
God.
But yeah, going back a lot of years, I played Command & Conquer on there. A long time ago, that was.
It's a great franchise.
And remember, they just, the remaster was a couple of years ago, and I bought the remaster, and it's a lot of fun.
I would have hoped they would have also remastered Red Alert 1 through 3, but they only remastered the first one.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's that, and I wasn't ever really into.
It was they were Command & Conquer, Red Alert, and Tiberian Sun were the three that are part of that remaster set.
Yeah, and then EA had also made, Generals, and I think that was it. But yeah, as far as like Warcraft, I wasn't really ever into that, so that would be interesting to get through Game Pass, and plenty of other games that it'd be nice to get into through their catalog. in older games that were back on the 360 that I would have missed. Like, I didn't play every Call of Duty. Probably didn't get into it too much until Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
And then into Black Ops and everything after that. So there's some older games that we cool see come out and try those out. And then, it's great to see that they also got more going into the phone market with King Games.
Yeah, that was a big move, King.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My wife's a mobile gamer. She won't play like Call of Duty or some of these other games, but she knows exactly who King Games is and plays Candy Crush and different games on her phone there like that. So they're hitting every part of the market between the console, the PC, and the phone.
Because what I think is, when they made that very unrealistic goal of 3 billion, I don't think they ever meant we're gonna have 3 billion Game Pass users. I think what they mean is they want to hit over all their gaming products, not 3 billion in Game Pass. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
it's a lot easier to achieve that on a phone because everybody's got a cell phone these days.
Exactly. So you're liking it then? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, it just brings more value to Game Pass, more value for what we are. I'm assuming most of us already pay for, and a lot of people in the chat there, that have Game Pass, and all of our friends on Xbox and PC. Mm-hmm. It's just one more added bonus at this point.
It is for Game Pass, definitely. It is. I'm just wondering who to ask next. I don't know. Who wants to go next? Have you finished on your take?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know who to ask. Who wants to go first on this topic? Who wants to go next? Who's daring enough?
I was going to say, it's not really big news, is it? I mean, I guess no one subscribed to RemovableSanity's channel, right? Because I'm sure there was a video on mergers and acquisitions and unsolicited advice to Xbox, and he said something along the lines of, I review game companies in order of avoid, on sale, great purchase, or must own. Ladies and gentlemen, is a great little company that's a must own. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, you spurred the idea.
Oh God! Well, I'm still waiting for my royalties for PlayStation Play Pass. I was just thinking. I don't know if it was Back from the Dead said something, and I remember the 90s on the Super Nintendo. Activision, they were a small company back then. I think it was Pitfall, and I remember AVP definitely. And they released quite a lot of Super Nintendo games, and they were really struggling at one point. And I think they nearly even went out of business. And it's quite remarkable, right? That I think at the time there was Acclaim. There was THQ, there was GT Interactive, all these companies, and Activision were kind of in a precarious position, pretty much like THQ found themselves, but they managed to sort of dig themselves up, and THQ didn't. Neither did Acclaim, and they were huge back in the 90s. With, was it Midway they owned? I can't remember now.
Yeah.
But I think it was, yeah.
But it's just quite remarkable, right? How the industry's evolved over 20, 25 years, and now we see a merger and acquisition like this. And I know, was it you, Stubbs, that you mentioned something about people saying it's it's going to be an acquisition, or it's proposed, and some people.
Yeah, a lot of the sites were like misleading people. Like if you went directly to the source, it just says they have intentions to acquire.
Yeah, I think that the truth lies somewhere in the middle. I mean, I guess I found out about the acquisition through my wife, because she sort of watches the stock market and says,
"Oh, really?"
Oh, okay. So because I haven't read anything, I haven't read any articles, haven't looked on Twitter. I just can't look at those low rent opinions. But I but this thing about is it going to go through an antitrust or anti-competition issues, whatever the right vocabulary is for that arising. and that's going to probably prevent such mergers. But if you don't know, and Paul and back from the dead perhaps can give a better opinion on this, is that if you don't already know, America is and always will be Microsoft country. And it will go through. As a corporation, they are able to influence national policy, and what doesn't suit big business in general, and I talk about all big business, whenever a legislation is passed or they don't like, trust me, they're at the forefront in ensuring that anything that stands in their way of growing their business, rightly or wrongly, I'm not here to judge, is easily deregulated. And it happens time and time and time again. And I've learned this more so while being here, and I think we've got Luke Steele in the chat, and he works with mergers and acquisitions, I think, on a daily basis. But it'll happen. There's no doubt about it. And if you're not entirely sure about it, you only have to look across to Disney, right? I mean, they were a company that sort of like really heavily leveraged, right? That I think they spent something like 70, perhaps even more, right, to buy Fox, right? And no one blinked an eyelid, right? And that went through like planes failing. So in terms of that, I think if you think it may or may not go through, you've just got your head stuck in the sand.
You were being polite saying the sand. Yeah, 50, I wouldn't have said
VJ,
sand.
50,
yeah, I know, Paul.
It was $52.4 billion. Sorry, VJ.
I'm sorry, Stubbs, you're interrupting again. What was that?
Sorry. $52.4 billion they bought it for, VJ. Fox.
Oh, they got a family discount, did they?
Yeah.
Kids go free.
One thing.
But yeah, I mean, if you look at Disney, right? I mean, what were they? I mean, they just bought a company that was the similar size to them, right? So yeah, I don't see any issues there. But if you look at it, if you look at such events, I know they're not really common, right? But and I'm probably not being really comprehensive here. It's if you look at it from a really macro level, forget about being a gamer and tribalistic and all that garbage, the idiotic stuff, just nasty. It's a really acute example of how the concentration of power, wealth, and influence can change the face of any given industry. And right now, Microsoft have that privilege, and it's really just interesting to observe, right? What's occurring, not just in this industry. I'm sure it's happening in others as well. I'm just not as well aware of those because they're just not as interesting as video games. So yeah. So I think I might just chime in on other people's sort of views, if that's okay, Stubbs, because I did have a few other points, but I'm suffering from a bit of Alzheimer's today.
Yeah, because I thought you were going to go in with a right hot take, a lot hotter than that. I thought
hotter in which way? You mean in terms of in the past I loved looking forward to what publishers of the 90s like Capcom, Konami, Sega, Enix, Acclaim, IRM, Level 5 Square, Jalico, Sunsoft, Marubeni. There was hundreds of little publishers, right? And you'd always look forward to what a different company would come up with, and I kind of do get this feeling, and I suddenly wonder if in an alternate universe, what the UK would look like if Tesco suddenly bought up, sort of Morrison's or Sainsbury's, Asda, Iceland, and Costco, and then rebranded them all, and only that. And barred brown, black, and yellow people, right? It sets something slightly ajar, right, in your being, right, doesn't it? But at the same time,
a little bit of hyperbolic there, isn't it? I mean, to be honest, okay. And this is again, I'll be asking probably really to Back from Dead and VJ and Cerebral here because obviously they know more about America than I do. But the way I understand it, and I'm probably being an exceptional idiot here, is that this now puts Microsoft third in the Tencent, then Sony, then Microsoft. So for me, this is going to they're buying up everything. Kind of makes no sense to me in terms of holdings. Yeah. And I kind of did a facetious Twitter post, which Cerebral quickly responded to me about. It's like, what was it? Jason Schreier was saying, maybe they should have the a governing body have a look into this. It's like, well, maybe they should. Maybe there should be a cap on holdings. But the question is then, would you reduce the cap of Tencent and Sony down to Microsoft's level, or would you say Tencent's cap is the maximum? And I think personally that would probably be a good idea. You know, you can only have so many holdings. But to say that Microsoft is now taking all, well, clearly not from the holdings aspect, at least from
they're
Tencent
not even
and
close.
Sony.
They're
No.
not even close.
So it kind of makes no sense to me for a governing body to go, "Oh, hang on a bit, Microsoft, you are third. We can't have that." Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying. Go on.
Even if they tried to do that in the United States, people like Tencent, even Microsoft, getting to the point where they're starting to branch out outside of the United States. Like the U.S. government could only control what's in their borders. They couldn't control how many companies they buy outside.
But this is where I was saying that
outside of the U.S., like Tencent,
you could have a
limit in your country, but as far as like a worldwide,
well, that's what I'm saying. Could you have a limited holdings aspect to your country? Because I would, that probably would be a good thing. Okay, if you've got a company that's in, say, you've got American company, you have a certain limit amount of what you can hold, so you don't become a monopoly. And the same thing could be then replicated across the board into other countries. Because I'm sure not too many people would want foreign. Well, I would say not too many people would want foreign companies buying up vast swathes of holdings in other countries.
But you'd have to get governing countries like China to agree to that, and that's never going to happen.
No.
But what you do is you're never going to
be able to hold. You can't hold Sony and Tencent to the same standards that we hold Microsoft to, because
but you could say
laws as far as that goes.
Well, okay, I'll look at it this way: could they restrict purchasing power? If you're a country, say the USA, could you restrict purchasing power? From
you could.
You could try.
They have delved into that with Tencent.
That wouldn't go over well, because you'd end up crippling your own economy.
Well, I'm not saying you would stop it. I would say you could restrict a certain amount,
You would still end up hurting yourself.
But then you'd be basically. Couldn't you use a loophole where you can have multiple subsidiaries and use it under
this is true.
Name.
This is true.
It's like VJ once talked to me about the Embracer Group. The way they're structured, VJ, aren't they? They're structured where they don't all hold one. They're all bought by parent companies and different subsidiaries.
They are. And Tencent is structured very
it's in a mess.
And
so you can't prove it. You know what I mean?
And Tencent did something very similar when they bought a couple of Japanese companies. What they did is they indirectly funded a company in Hong Kong. And they went on to buy the companies in Japan. So I don't think you're going to be able to stop that removable because there's also, I mean, if a company's in distress and it's worth 100 billion and somebody goes in and buys it, right? Who's gonna turn around and say, don't do it, So I think that, as I said to you, it's that if there's policy there that hinders corporate companies going about their business as they see fit to the benefit of their shareholders, they are powerful enough to go and deregulate laws or whatever it is, right, to circumvents them currently, right, to go out and do what they need to do. And it's being done time and time and time again. And as I said to you, America was never founded as a country; it was founded as a corporation, and that's pretty much how it operates.
So do you believe that, so in that regards then, are we saying that in terms of the holdings aspect, companies like Tencent, Sony and Microsoft can continuously pump away and try and become, buy more studios as long as they've got the funds?
Yeah. I mean, Microsoft have got, I think they've got no debt whatsoever, and they've got a surplus of cash. And one of the major, when every quarter, when there's a shareholder meeting, and again, I'm not an expert on this. It would be nice to have had Luke on the show. Shareholders look at many things, right? They look at leadership, they look at share pricing, they look at trajectories, they look at have you hit your targets, etc. And one of the major things that they look at is your bank balance. And they say, and the biggest issue for them is that why is there a load of cash sitting in the bank? Why are you not investing it? Because it's not earning anything there. And they ask the questions, look, how are you going to invest this cash? Or what else, or what, and how are you going to make it work in order to grow the company? So and you have to look at Microsoft, right? Forget about gaming, right? They're looking at business models, right? That suit the pillars of the business. And we talked about this 2 years ago, or a year ago, which is subscriptions and services, and whether it's with the military, whether it's with, I don't know, whoever, and they offer their services. And let's be honest, right? Subscription services with corporations, I think they're pretty much number one, right? I don't think they have any competition, right? And then they're looking at, well, how do we grow their business? It's got to be done via consumer. And I think Phil was pretty smart and went in. Well, I don't think it was Phil. I think it was I forget the Satya Nadella. He turned around and said to Phil, "Listen, you know what? If you want investment, if you want investment, if you want to have another bash at Xbox, it's got to be subscription based. It's got to be it's got to be content based, because that's the future, and so on and so forth. And it's got to be a regular cash flow that we can count on, and we can't have this up and down sort of trajectory in Microsoft, because some games hit and some games don't. So we need a model that is predictable. And I think Phil's gone away and said, you know what, this is what I've got to work with creatively. And he's worked around it creatively, bought studios, released a new system, and said, right, we'll go and get Bethesda, and then they've bought Activision. But Activision shouldn't be a surprise, really. It shouldn't. I think I was talking to Stubbs, and I was saying he was talking to me about, they should just go and buy Warner Brothers, or someone else is looking at them. I said they shouldn't buy Warner Brothers, the games divisions. They should just buy the whole thing, lock, stock, and barrel. Because what is Warner Brothers, right? It's regardless of whether they make video games or whether they make movies or TV shows and everything. It's all content. It's all subscription based, and it all relies on servers. And if they want to get into the entertainment industry, if they want to own IP, and they want to be a real powerhouse, go and do that. But they've gone for Activision, and I can understand why, because if you look at Activision's results, and even Sony's, right, 23 or 24, 25% of their income is purely for microtransactions and subscribers, right? It's amazing, right? And it's guaranteed, and it's predictable cash flow, which any business model out there that can predict cash flow to a T is worth its weight in gold, and that's why hence they paid $70 billion for it. And some say it's overpriced, but I think for Microsoft it's a drop in the ocean.
Speaking of that,
sorry,
Luke,
real quick, I have a list for you, because people are just looking at the video game side, the gaming side. This is just some of what they've done over the last few years. Besides Activision Blizzard, they bought LinkedIn. They bought Nuance Communications, which is Dragon Naturally Speaking and speech synthesis. They bought Skype Telecommunications. So I mean, they're doing. It's a very big picture they're looking at. Hell, they own the Nokia smartphone line. Some people may not realize that. They have a much bigger picture than just video gaming.
I thought they sold Nokia division off because it went bust basically.
I don't know if they sold it off.
Yeah, they still have a mobile division.
Okay, so my bad. Right.
And I think Luke makes a good point in the chat. I didn't quite get it. I should have had him on the show, really, but he's probably busy living up with his bottles of champagne over in Jersey. He says it's not as simple as that anyway. In the EU, for example, you're caught by competition law where both entities hit worldwide, certain worldwide plus EU turnover thresholds. You must apply for EU consent. I totally agree with Luke there, but I think that Activision as a company, they actually do have a business in the UK, but everything else I think is sold through third-party distribution. So I'm not sure whether that constitutes as their turnover versus them exporting or selling content into Europe. But
they must still be subject to certain law aspects, though. If they've got
had to get approval, didn't they, by the EU? Well, they asked for it anyway. EU approved it.
Yeah,
they did.
But there's a big difference between 7 billion and 70 billion.
Yes, there is.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
I mean, not to you, Stubbs, because you obviously have tea with the Queen.
The other thing I wanted to mention was Activision used to be king of the cartridge in the late 70s and 80s. that they were the video game creator for Atari 2600. They had all the top titles, including Pitfall when it came out. That was a big deal.
Also
to
on
me it seems like
television.
one of the things they did to me, I think, to survive, was they went from being less of a direct developer to more of a distributor. If you really look at what they do now, nothing is really directly, Activision developed for the most part. It's all underneath, like Ravensoft and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So they're more of a distribution arm than anything, to me. I could be mistaken because I don't follow that stuff closely, but that's what it feels like to me.
I wanted to just answer Stubbs whether I'd be sort of more passionate or disconcerted with this whole issue about Activision. The thing for me, Stubbs-san, is that I don't play Activision or Blizzard games. I'd love to try Diablo. I do play it a little on my nephew's DS, but I think if it was a big Japanese publisher, I may have had more to say. But it's just that I don't play Activision content, and I'm with Back from the Dead in terms of I'm looking forward to play the Call of Duty games if they all hit, all the back catalog hits, and then which is not quite certain what Phil meant by we'll do our best to get every as many games as possible onto the service, and for me, I think the obvious thing, people are obviously going to be saying, well, what does this mean for Sony and for Nintendo, and that's the only other real topic or point within the topic. And I think Sony and Nintendo should. I mean, I know fans are probably. I know that obviously, is it Call of Duty sells a lot more on PlayStation? You would assume that, right? I don't know, but
I believe so.
I would say that Sony.
Well, that's because of the marketing deal, though.
A lot of exclusives.
Nintendo has such a catalog with all their own first-party characters that it's not too big if they're trying to really go after third-party at all.
But it's only a few days early.
Sorry. Go on. So
the PlayStation marketing deals, it's only like to get the content a few days early, and there's a special mode. It's nothing to sell the game more. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I agree with you to an extent, Stubbs, because obviously they've got the install base, right, and they do work very hard in the UK when I was there anyway to market Call of Duty at Christmas time with PlayStation. So look, that aside, I think Sony and Nintendo are obviously going to look at this. I don't think there's much that they can do, and people can take it negatively. I would take it as a positive. I think that there's positives here, and you can shoot me down here. I think Sony and Nintendo should take it as a compliment that Microsoft have had to spend nigh on $80 billion to be competitive and relevant this in the gaming sector. And I feel again. And this is not fact, right? I'm just projecting here, right? So again, it's because it's just discussion, right? So, and I think that what Microsoft have done, right? If you think about it, they're growing the gaming industry in awareness and commonality amongst a much larger audience, right? They're, whether it's 25 million in terms of subscribers, whether they get to 200 million or whether they get to 2 billion, and that affords whether Sony and Nintendo are the new second and third place companies going forward, right? Because every dog has its days. Nintendo have had their time, Sony have had their time, and perhaps now it's Microsoft. And Microsoft lead the way, grow the industry. That can only mean that Sony and Nintendo, increase their audience side, right? Not exponentially as much as, say, Microsoft will going forward, but there's still more money to be made for those companies. And I think Removable is absolutely right. They were talking behind the scenes. You've got to look at it as in, oh no, this is what's happened. No. This is the problem with most people, right? They always look at the negative. They don't look at, okay, look, we've got a really fierce competitor, right? We can't compete financially, we can't compete on manpower, and we can't compete in terms of what they can afford. But what's the bloody opportunity here? Now that's what a smart man would do, right? And what's in all of this hoo-hum, or I forgot the expression, sorry, I've been out of England for too long, is what is the opportunity? And that's how you've got to look at it. That's how smart business has got to look at it. And I'm sure there's a lot of people crying on the internet, but why? I don't understand it. And to me,
I haven't seen any of those smart people on Twitter lately. I tell you.
No, this is why I don't go on there, because it's all playground, low rent opinion, thoughtless drivel that's ensuing in regards to exclusive and which is a better gaming company. It's just idiocy, and it shows you as an individual and humanity as a whole. Well, certain individuals and humanity as a whole, if there are higher beings of intelligence looking down and observing us, I hope they watch this bloody show, or they'll be very upset. It's humanity when it's like that, when it's like that, is at its lowest, trivial, sort of imbecilic. I don't know if that's a word.
Yeah.
It's at this tribalistic base.
Yeah,
That's
no,
what
but
it is. It's
I don't think it's even
tribalistic.
tribalistic, because nationalism is the new tribalism, right? So it's all lowest. It's the lowest ebb, or the trivial, or the ignorant and selfish, worthless form that people are at. People face is it adversary or on a daily basis? Right? Adversity, that's it. Thank you. On a daily basis, right? And there are those that are miserable, that will wallow, and there are those that are joyful, regardless of what everyone's got a burden to bear in life, right? No one's got a perfect. Everyone's got a burden to bear, and there's joyful people, and it's the joyful people that try to see the best in everything, and try to see the opportunity in everything. If you own a corporate company, and work it towards in your favor, and like Paul says, he's absolutely spot on, right? That unfortunately those sort of people are few and far between, and that's sad.
And let me say real quick that it's not just the people that are against this deal because it doesn't work in Sony's favor or whatever. I also cannot stand those on the quote winning side posting these things that are basically to rub it in the face.
Yeah,
it's
they
like,
do.
Grow the heck up. And I'm being very polite at this point.
And to be honest with you, speaking on to that point, I would say that actually I did spot a few good things coming out of Twitter.
Yeah.
I know that it's very rare, but actually what I saw bouncing through was actually some old IPs. They were requesting for them to make a resurgence. So for instance, one thing I did see, and it's one of my favorite Sony IPs, was Killzone, and they were calling for that to come back. And they're saying, look, I think they do. I'm not 100% sure of the actual aspects here, but they were asking for a lot of some of the old PlayStation IPs to come back and make a resurgence. There you go. VJ just said, what is the next thing that could help them out? There you go. Yeah. There's a whole load of IPs there that I know a lot of people would, including myself, would. I would, if I had Killzone, a brand new Killzone, I can guarantee you I'll be aiming for the next PS5.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to look at Sony, right? Sony, right? And I've talked about this, and again, these so-called YouTube channels that have been around for ages, that have got thousands and thousands of followers, and I prefer it, Paul, if you weren't polite today, because I think you've got a few points to make, which you should make, because again, to your point, Paul, it just shows you how ignorant, selfish, and worthless, and what it is, it's the form of the human being, because human beings at the core, what they want is that they move forward, they're projected forward by desire and control. Right. Yeah. And when you have control over your neighbor, you lambast them. What kind of a human being are you? You're worthless, right? In my opinion, right? It's pretty ugly, right? And again, it's about the opportunity, right? Is that those that lead provide guidance for those that follow, right? Sony and Nintendo have both led in Nintendo arguably in the 90s, Sony throughout the 10s and perhaps the last couple of decades, and as I say, it's a cyclical thing, right? It's like saying, well, it's like the British complaining, well, 200 years ago, we owned most of the world, right? And the British Empire was everything. Why is it still doesn't exist today, right?
Yeah.
Come on, right? It's like.
And those of us with Roman ancestry can go back farther than that.
Yeah. If I was Sony and Nintendo, I would love to be in Microsoft Slipstream, looking at what they're doing and where the opportunities open up and capitalize on those opportunities. Because if you're a smart man, if you're an observant person, right? And as they say, I don't know how the quote, someone really smart once said, and it's always stuck with me, observation without judgment is the highest form of intelligence. I'm not counting you, Removable, in that. I'm just kidding.
Weren't me, that's for sure. It weren't me.
But it's and for me, it's a case of, if you can be smart, if you can be observant, and you can judge and without judgment and observe what is happening right now, I think that if you're a gaming company or you're a division of a larger corporation, as PlayStation is of Sony's, there's opportunities abound, ones that we can't even see. And again, if Microsoft are willing to spend the money and take risks, right, and work at this in the right way, so we get better content, right, going forward, and they're opening up new avenues for new consumers to come on board and new ways for games to be designed and created and exploited, then Sony and Nintendo can benefit from that. Not just them, Tencent and Take-Two and all of the others, and it's good competition. So yeah, of course, Sony have got to, as a corporation, maybe they feel that they've got to, bite down on this bitter pill right now, but it could be bittersweet if they play the cards right.
Yep, and I also want to say to something you mentioned earlier about the shareholders going, we're sitting on all this ready cash. Why aren't we doing anything? One thing I like, and I've said this before to all of you, I think, is they don't just want to spend the money; they want a return on their investment. So
exactly.
They're not throwing out money willy nilly.
No, that was a given, Paul. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that for those that may not catch that. They really look at these different, like WB and the other things that are out there and go, where can we get the best return on our investment in a timely manner, And
at the same time, diversify the portfolio of Game Pass,
right?
Which their ultimate objective. And if Sony wants to dive into that position too, coming out with Spartacus and however many 3 different tiers they're going to do.
Can I see
go for multiplayer?
Can I see WB down the road the next year or two? Absolutely.
Possible. Absolutely. If they want to go after DC with Sony having a pretty good grip on all the Marvel superheroes.
Yep.
Well, they'll wait till the Discovery and WB merger goes through before they swoop on a company like that.
Yeah, I think if you look at Warner Brothers, right, and you look at Square Enix, right, and the reason probably why they don't want to sell, if you think about it, right, I think I don't know if my wife was telling me that the Activision sold because they've got no new IPs, they don't know when the next big game is going to be, and they're kind of stagnating. If you look at Square Enix, what have they got? They've got Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy Remake Part 2, they've got the new Dragon Quest coming out, which, if you're not aware, sells about 4 million copies in Japan every time it launches, right? They've got a ton of new mobile games coming. They've got Forspoken coming out, which looks okay-ish, right?
Yeah.
So, and if you look at the year that they've had recently with Outriders, the Avengers, which less said about the better, they are working to ensure that these 4 or 5 games come out and the upside is there, the value creation is there, and the share price goes up, and so that if they are sort of find themselves victim of a hostile takeover or whatever, I think they're already protected against that. So is Nintendo and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But you want to do that, and if you look at and basically ripen themselves up, and if you look at Warner Brothers games division, right? I can't really tell you about the movie business, but I'm sure it's just ticking along at the moment. But that games division has got, what is it, the 2 or 3 big games coming out, right? Which are gonna. I'm not overly confident with what they've got coming. I think it's kind of make or break for them, right? With Suicide Squad and the game that's coming out of Montreal as well, Batman something or other. Yeah, thank you. So I think they're in a precarious situation, Warner Brothers. But obviously, they're DC IP. They've tried really, really, really hard to leverage that, and I think they're nowhere in the league of in the way that Disney's leveraged the Marvel IPs. And again, I might be wrong, right? Because I don't follow box office revenues.
I think if Rocksteady's on their game with the Kill the Justice League game, it's going to be fire. The other one I can't speak so much to, but I think if Rocksteady's on their game, that's going to be great.
Masuko's just asked a question, a question: what protects these companies from hostile takeovers? Masuko, there was you should go and have a look at something Nintendo CEO was talking about several years back when they were struggling after the Wii U. I think a lot of the finance companies, etc., and a lot of the Forbes and media outlets were telling Nintendo, look, what you need to do is stop making hardware, release all your games on multi-format, go the Sega route, and on mobile, right? And obviously, what do they know? And what it was is that they have put mechanisms in place with banks, perhaps even the government, that if there ever was, somebody came along and try to buy an extreme, I don't know, whatever percentage it might be from the stock market of their shares. I forgot what the Japanese stock market is. It Nikkei in Japan. That there are mechanisms in place where that any sort of hostile takeover or even a takeover would be stemmed or stopped, straight out of the gate. And I think more and more companies have worked with governments and financial institutions that if such an event took place or an occasion took place, that they would be able to, stem any hostile takeover. You should definitely have. I'll try, if I can find the article, I will, and I'll DM it to you.
The other thing, and you mentioned stuff your wife pointed out, but the other thing, and I almost hate to bring it up, but it's part of the story to me, is part of the reason Activision Blizzard was kind of on a weakened stance was because of all the drama behind all the legal issues over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And Kotick in particular,
I think it was RemovableSanity's unsolicited video on mergers and acquisition advising
experts. George
says that stabilized the industry. None of you lot subscribe to his channel.
That's I mean, that's another whole kind of line of talking about, really, isn't the Cossack harassment elements to it? And I know a lot of people are saying, is it something that is going to be resolved internally, or is it going to be something that is going to be resolved externally? And what I mean by that is, my gut feeling is, it's those who have a better understanding of the intricacies here, is that he'll get a big fat paycheck, but depending on if he does leave or if he gets moved out or bought out, it doesn't mean he couldn't be still sued. I suppose it all depends on those who accuse him, is whether they go for the company they accuse or they go for him directly. And again, we kind of won't know any of that until those go through the procedures, those go through the courts themselves. At the moment, I'm thinking, and I'm not 100% sure, I think there is harassment charges or indications against certain people in the company, not the company itself.
Right.
So I'm not 100% sure because I didn't really follow it too much, but that's what I think I've heard.
I believe the federal state's suing Activision Blizzard. I don't know if it's
California filed charges against them.
Oh, that's it.
That's what set a lot of this off.
But wasn't that because they were requesting something and the company said no, and so they went, right, we're going to take you to court, which now what I'm saying is they may now switch that particular charge to a particular person. So it may very well be he gets a nice big fat paycheck, but that paycheck could be very well going towards a lot of lawyers for the next couple of years.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This guy's super rich anyway. It's not going to affect him.
I don't want to sort of stir the pot here or anything, but come on, if Microsoft must have known about this during.
They knew.
They did.
They knew.
Don't forget.
Everybody's known about the legal issues over the last couple of years.
Yeah. Don't forget. Mikey Barrow went over to Activision as well, didn't he? So. And he come from Rod Ferguson. Yeah, so they'll be coming back over.
Why do they sound like animated? Why do they sound like English cricketers? I'll put that link of that Nintendo link in the
chat.
I hope that was okay. And I was trying to get your permission, but you're too busy playing the gunk.
Oh yeah, he's mod. That's one.
Animated, I saw your thing moving like you were talking, but I didn't hear any voice.
I had to ask a question because Luke Steele is a very clever man. He obviously knows. There's me thinking they've got warehouses of cash and lorries. And I said, is it
if they do, can you let us know where it is?
Cash? He's like, no, it's just a term. It's literally just a bank transfer. It's a funds flow.
Is it? It's PayPal.
I was thinking, where's this bloody big security?
You'd have a terrible transaction fund on that much money.
PayPal taking their 3% cut. Yeah.
He told me. I didn't understand. It was a bank transfer, basically. But they call it cash. They do.
Yeah.
I'll just do a couple of shout-outs. Join the conversation. So, Doom Reaper, thanks for popping in. And Hertog, cheers for stopping in. And who else we got?
Dragon Wolf and 108 Dragons TV.
Dragon Wolf, 108 Dragons TV, and I've missed one. Matt Barnes, I missed you as well. Thanks for stopping in.
Me, Dyke.
You on about the bot? I'm not
Oh,
shouting
okay.
out the bot that I blocked.
I don't know. I'm not very good at this
Oh,
stuff.
that's all of you, right?
Wolf of Darkness, thanks for popping in. But yeah, that was in. But at least I learned something there off Luke. That it's not actual cash.
When they say cash transfer, cash deal, they just mean there was no stock trading that took place. There was no,
They didn't have to sell to get the money together.
Right.
Vija had in his head, literally, there was like a row of people with brown paper bags just walking towards the Activision Blizzard, offices. That's one, that's two.
Can you imagine them transporting that at the heist? The big heist.
a line of armored cars going down the street. Yeah. What's that? Oh, that's the Microsoft acquisition money.
It's a unique time. If anything now, it's going to be interesting at what happens next.
That's more what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
What is the response from the other companies?
What's going to remain explicit won't become exclusive.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I would. Sorry, back for the dead. Sorry, you were speaking. Go ahead.
Oh, that's fine. No, I was just commenting on the fact we've already been through this once with the whole ZeniMax deal, where Cerebral had to come out repeatedly on camera and say, "And yes, it's exclusive." And yes, it's exclusive.
Oh yeah.
Repeatedly. Yeah. How much of that is going to happen here now? It's like the next Call of Duty comes out, and yes, it's exclusive.
Yeah. Look, I don't doubt that. I think that, and I've said this before, at least a year ago, or perhaps even prior to that. If you look at Sony and Sony, they modified their business model to much more similar to Nintendo's. A heavy focus on licensing. The division's grown exponentially. Looking at releasing a system where their content primarily supports the sales of that system and not relying so much on third party. And Nintendo have done that for 2-3 decades. And Sony knew that they had to start doing that. And I think that, again, and Paul can chime in here because I'm going to talk about smart people and not so smart people here, is that these companies to private shareholders, I think it was in 2018, there was a private shareholder meeting in Japan with Sony and its main shareholders, banks, institutions, etc. And they explained that, look, 50% of our revenues or profit, I can't remember which one, I'm sorry, but it was a significant number like that 50% of our revenues are from 10 games that we don't own. So, and that for any company is a major, how can I put it, a major point, right, which they have to address, right, at some point or another. And to say that what are they going to do, were they aware, weren't they aware, I think that what they are doing, and you've seen it now over the last 2 or 3 years, where they're not looking to spend 6, 7, 8 billion or 20 billion or 30 billion in buying companies, because I think for them it's a case of look, what we can afford to do is to open up several studios, and hopefully those games, if we recruit properly, if we conceive content properly, and if we market it properly at the end of the day, those games could go on and do significantly well. And I remember the games like Uncharted and Killzone that I think RemovableSanity mentioned, they would sell 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 million, right? And it's other than Spider-Man, God of War, and GT and a few others. Sony never used to sell 20 million copies of a single first party release, right, on PlayStation, right? So that's taken them 10 or 15 years to do. So, and I think they will stick to that model because Nintendo have shown it's profitable, right? Even when they looked like they were down and out, when the Nintendo, was it the Wii U that collapsed? I'm thinking of the Wii U, but I'm picturing the Virtual Boy. So
yeah, I know what you're thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that.
I mean, Sony's still got its still got its core base, and it's still got its core game genre, which I don't see Microsoft still being able to battle against. It's still got a single player, third person action game, which Microsoft is still going to struggle to try and achieve to match up against.
They still have to build up that base at any rate, because only God of War is dating back all the way to the PlayStation 2. Everything else is either PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
And a lot only have single games in their... pretty much, they've only had their debut game. We have to see what they can continue to do in the future, which the next one we'll see is next month with Horizon Forbidden West.
Yep. And then in March with GT7. Yeah. I think if this was I don't know, I don't know too much about boxing, but it's the only analogy that I can come up. So if Microsoft are sort of on the heavyweight scene, right, where they are now in terms of where they want to get to, and then perhaps Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo can still win their own championships, but perhaps in a weight slightly below. Mm-hmm. So and be just as successful. You only have to talk to Barry McGuigan, right? So am I speaking about? Am I showing my age here?
Yeah. You are showing your age, yeah. Yes.
No, I didn't.
Oh my God. Okay. So I think that, as I said, I think there's plenty of opportunity for these companies, and what happens next. Look, as I said to you, I don't want to see everything consolidated. I mean, I get irritated, when I want to go and watch a certain show and then I realize I haven't got the subscription service for it. Yeah. And when I check a little deeper, there's 10 subscription services and they've all got a show that I want to watch, and it's so annoying.
Well, so you've just hit your nail on the head. Who has all the anime streaming services? It ain't Microsoft.
Sony.
Yeah. So it's you can't really go. Well, that leans into the point I was going to make. It's the pot calling the kettle black, right?
Mm-hmm. They've now, if you want to, and I know Crunchyroll is actually on Funimation. I think there is Funimation app on Microsoft system. You don't know how long it's going to be on there for. I wouldn't thought it's going to be very much longer. So if you're into your anime, and you're used to me like I am, if you're watching your Crunchyroll anime on your Xbox, that's going to be gone very soon, I suspect. And the only place you'll be able to watch it is either using some sort of VPN and trying to see if you can get it across a different system, or on PlayStation.
Well, they have to see one thing. People have to, with stuff like that, people have to realize they have to weigh. How much are we going to lose if people decide not to go to play? If we take this service away from Xbox, or we take this service away from Sony, and can we recoup that in pulling them into our system? They have to look at those numbers, because sometimes some people are going to go, "Oh, I can't watch that on there anymore. Okay, I'm good. I'll find other stuff to do."
Does that kind of leads into the Call of Duty? Is that a similar sort of situation?
Yeah, I think it is. It's very much a similar situation.
Yeah.
I think. Forgive me if I haven't got you. I kind of caught the gist of what you said, Paul. But yeah, if you've got gaps in your roster, if an IP is suddenly not going to perform, or it needs a rest, or it's been taken by another company as an exclusive for their hardware format. What I was saying, when I kind of lost my train of thought when I was speaking earlier, Sony were well aware that, listen, you know what, our business model relies on these 10 third-party games that contributes to 50% of our revenue or profit. I can't remember which one. They knew this 4 or 5 years ago, right? And if you're a business, you're constantly doing a SWOT analysis and looking at the risks that, whether it's a studio closure, how do you replace lost revenue, how do you maintain subscribers, and so on and so forth. This is what they do all day, every day, right? And if they're not, then they deserve everything they get, right? And at the end of the day, I think if Sony were thinking of sitting back and hoping that PlayStation 5 would be a success, and there's nothing that they really need to do other than manufacture systems, which they're finding extremely difficult to do as it is, even though Jim's hope was to aggressively and quickly migrate all of the PS4 users across to PS5, which obviously hasn't happened due to COVID and so on and so forth. I'm not sure if we're allowed to say that or not on live on air, but the point being is that they're aware of this, and I think that the studio that they've opened, Haven, is it going to be I forgot what kind of studio it is. It's not like what is it, pays games as a service or something, and then you've got that Deviation studio made up of ex Call of Duty guys, whether that's a Call of Duty-esque franchise because they would have known this acquisition was going on, right? If you're in the industry, you pretty much know, right? Is that they would have had to make plans. And as I said to you, even though fans are sitting there crying, Sony and Nintendo can't afford to do that. They have got to sit there and thinking, right, let's assume this revenue contribution, this profit contribution is going to be wiped from our earnings, right, for PlayStation in the next 24, 36 months, whatever it is, then it's up to them to go away and double down on ensuring that they can make that up elsewhere. By, again, I don't think it'll be through acquisition. I think it'll be through partnerships and creating more studios. And at the end of the day, I would say if they produce content of quality, people will buy their hardware and buy their games, because Nintendo have proved that over the last several years, since 2017 with the Nintendo Switch. And so, as I said to you, that I've seen Sony's model change from being heavily third party, sort of geared towards third party content supporting their games during PS2, PS3, as Back from the Dead mentioned, to PS4 and perhaps PS5 being more reliant on internal first-party studios providing content on a quarterly or half-yearly basis. So,
because when you're
you can just cut me off.
I'm sorry. When you're depending on that much third-party for 50% of your profit or your income or whatever,
games.
Boy, that's an Achilles heel. I mean, that can go away in a heartbeat.
Exactly, and then you can understand why they made. They can understand why they made that strategic investment into what's that company? Epic. Is it Epic?
Yeah.
Because they knew this 4 or 5 years ago, Paul. It's not something that's just it's not just something that's crept up behind them and bit them on the bottom. Even though I know RemovableSanity is into that sort of thing, but
only for you.
I feel like my trunction needs truncating, sir.
I suppose the question that kind of kicks in now is then this coming year really is going to be a twist and turns in terms of announcements. It really is going to be, I mean, last year was pretty good in terms of what was being thrown and told to us gamers. This year, I mean, you had a rough kind of idea of what things were coming out in terms of, where you could see Sony and Microsoft, moving forward into. This year, I'm kind of just, I'm bemused. I have no clear image now of what's going on this year coming out. Also, don't get me wrong. I can see that. Go on.
I'm going to remind people once again too. Remember, Microsoft, for the most part, I think there were one or two that got. They honored their existing contracts with that they had before that were done before the acquisition was over, and I think they're going to do the same thing here. So it's not going to be an instant turnaround of we're going to cut you off. They're going to finish up. They're probably, I can't say for sure because I'm not in the boardroom. They're probably going to finish off their existing contracts as written, as far as who gets what, for the next couple of years or whatever.
But can you like last year? I was talking. Maybe I'm talking on my backside here, but you had a rough idea of where things was moving towards.
Yeah.
Do you feel this year's like, with these kind of acquisitions done by Sony and acquisitions done by Microsoft, it's like I don't know where things are going to go now. It's kind of slightly exciting to see what the hell is going to happen next, because it's like, what is going to happen next? What is the next, the next Sony deal? Yep. What is the next, reaction? What is the next? What is the next game they're going to throw out? What is the next thing they're going to say? What is the next, by the way, this is happening.
Yep.
If you, the thing is that geared towards Sony and Nintendo? Because I can tell you now that traditionally, and I know, change is constant, but traditionally Japanese companies, if you look at every single one of them, especially in the gaming industry, they're always very conservative, and what they like to do is grow organically. You can go and spend $7 billion on a company, right, and buy their content, and perhaps in 10 years it'll be profitable. I have no idea, or whether it exponentially shoots up your share price to make up for the money, the cash that you spent out or loaned or whatever. You've got to look at it like this, right? Could they spend $1 billion on 4 studios to create 4 new IPs that could each easily equate to $7 billion if they're successful? And I think that is the route that Nintendo and Sony are more likely to go down, which means new intellectual property, more creativity for us versus the route of Microsoft, which, let's be honest, it isn't their strong suit to create content, but they have the cash to invest to stabilize, perhaps even save a company like Activision that weren't going anywhere fast. If their share price was going anywhere over the next few years, given that their lack of creativity and new IPs, and they've written off a tremendous amount of cash in trying to create new content, it's perhaps a good thing that Microsoft have come along and bought them out to make sure that at least whatever content that they're putting out, whatever the disarray may currently be in terms of people leaving or and so on and so forth, that I don't play their content, but I'm sure there's millions and millions of people that those people can continue to enjoy that content, and it gives the people that work at Activision, I don't know how many they've got, what, 10,000 employees or something, 5,000, I don't know the number.
I think 9,500 last time I looked.
Yeah, to galvanize them and give them new hope that there's a new regime coming in and the crap that's gone before is going to go away, so they can all go back to work and start creating. Because, and I think that those are the two distinct business models: is acquisition, growth by acquisition and merger, which is fine, and which Microsoft are doing, and there's the way that the organic way of organic and successful, that's been successful in Nintendo.
Yeah, organic. There's a question in that regards then, is then how does that play out with the players? Because right now I suspect there's still we haven't heard anything. What's the next move? Say something, Sony, tell us something. And if you're saying they're a very conservative sort of situation, would that play very well to the user base who, without hearing something, is going to get very worried and pull back.
The user base is a bunch of whiners. The user base is a bunch of whiners.
I think
we need to hear something. We need to hear something. No, you don't. Shut up.
We did hear something from Sony. They released the story trailer for Horizon Forbidden West.
There you go.
Yeah,
but you know what it is. That it's I would say the stupidity of it is if there isn't something nice and shiny or something nice that's thrown at the individual on a regular basis, people start to worry. And if you times that over a couple of months of being very quiet, people get very, very worried. And then you say that off a half a year, people are like, that's it. Maybe I should start looking at the other options.
Am I the only person in this hobby that doesn't do that? That doesn't fret, doesn't go.
Oh, I don't. Yeah. I think. I know. Yeah, exactly. I know. I think we're used to old school sort of. Oh, a game comes out. Oh, that's once a year game.
I'm already seeing post of Sony needs to respond, and they need to respond now. No, they don't. No, they don't need to.
Actually, I've got a question for you, Paul. For everyone, really, because the way because I don't play the game, so I'm assuming that the Activision Blizzard consumer base is primarily PC, so they're not affected, right? And then you've got King, right, which is primarily a mobile division, so PlayStation and Nintendo fans are not affected. So it's just Activision, right? Crash Bandicoot came out. I think it did reasonably well. I think that when Sony need to say something is when the consumers, because I'm assuming not all 30 million copies that they sell of Call of Duty is sold to hardcore gamers. Maybe it's a single digit percentage there. Maybe it's even 10 to 20. I don't know. But I think I think they need to say something or do something in the meantime. And then perhaps they is the fact that, look, in 2 years' time, when you go out and you want to go and buy a console at Christmas and you realize that the new Call of Duty is only on Xbox, I think prior to that, they need to do something. I think and I think right now they're wise to keep their own counsel. They've got a very important game launching next month, which has to succeed. There's been 5 to 6 years in development. They've got GT7 coming out, which is another massive game for them that they need to market and support and get out. And because their financial year ends in March. So I think that whatever they've got planned or whatever they want to announce is going to be geared around those two major titles, and I think they've got Sifu and a few other smaller titles.
And you've just also hit home regarding Call of Duty, because I think Call of Duty is also a big factor in the esports.
Yeah.
Well, as well as there's a lot of streamers that play that online. So there's another whole section of the community.
And speaking to VJ's point, what they're going to do if they get noticed that, hey, we're not going to get the next Call of Duty, by fall of 2024, they better make a big announcement and push that holiday sales. Go, we got this new game coming out. Get your PS5, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because
exactly.
they now they're going to be pushed in. Yeah, it's going to be pushing them in a hurry. But they've got to get something that can compete with that. Because they know they're going to lose some people when Call of Duty goes away.
Yeah, and I think Paul's right, because as I said to you, they knew about this issue to 2018, so 2023. That's 5 years. They've had time to do something about it. And I think Removable, to your point, to be fair, I think you have a key point there, because obviously E3 is not that far away after their financial year end, and so that will be, I think, the next key moment when they're probably going to be acquired by Microsoft. As a joke. Please don't
Jesus Christ, Twitter would absolutely melt down if that happened.
It would have
Thanks for everyone for tuning in. We've got 9 likes, and we've got 18 people watching. Could we get some more likes, please, from everyone? Please subscribe if you wish. Would you like to speak, Animated Evil?
No, nothing really that hasn't already been said or I've agreed with. So, yeah, it's a big thing. Like I said, they've known it's happening for a while, haven't they? My thought is that's why Mikey Barra left to go to Activision. That's just a feeling I've got. I could be wrong, but to have him come back again, it's pretty cool. Yeah. Everything's already been said, really.
Animated Evil, I don't understand what's going on. What have all these English Test cricketers got to do with American video games?
To be honest, I'm kind of wondering, worried that Animated's going down the conspiracy route. Are you saying Mike Ibarra was kind of let go so he could set up the teams ready for the acquisition?
I'm not pulling at that thread, but you never know. That's all I'm saying.
That's all I'm saying.
It is a bit of a coincidence, but it might be just that, a coincidence.
You think about it, he's gone in, he's like, okay, I need to get this all ready and set up in terms of how we do things.
Remember, it wasn't just Mike either. There was the other one.
No, Rod.
Rod Ferguson.
Yeah, Stubbs' his favourite person.
Keep him can I just say something? And I might be reaching here, but I was really enjoying Final Fantasy 13, so I went and watched the Final Fantasy 16 trailer again, and now I've watched it really carefully. I'm just wondering if it's the Square Enix's answer or a tip of the hat to The Witcher 3, because it really gives me that vibe.
May very well be. I
thought I'd just say it now. I don't want to say it at the time. They said, well, you never said it before, did you? So,
there it is. We have it on record now. Yeah. Right.
Preemptive strike. Yep. It's going to be a unique year, and as I said, it is at this stage. I'm just confounded and slightly confused of where things are going to go. E3. God knows what could be announced. God knows what could be said. As you rightly said, they've known this for a while.
Removable. We know you're going to do a video beforehand. Everything like you did the Activision.
We're doing a podcast. We'll do the podcast.
I'm just looking forward to your video. Please subscribe to RemovableSanity.
Oh God!
Just so people know, if you ever see, I don't know if any of you are aware of this. If you ever see on a game or announcement from a certain publisher that a game from Level Infinite, just know that that's Tencent's gaming division. They're rebranding so people don't realise it's them. Cool. And
it's hard for people not to realise it's them when they advertise it.
Yeah, no, but they also Jeff Keighley took their money too. It was Game Awards, weren't it? It was there, but some people might not know it's Tencent.
Yeah,
you say.
I thought that Luke's still saying that E3 is dead. It's dead, but obviously events still occur around that graveyard shift, right?
Microsoft will probably still do something. Sony will probably still do something.
They'll do something. Yeah, I mean,
I think
financial year end in June. Yeah.
With E3, I don't understand why, even when E3 was on, that Xbox even paid E3, because they're across the bloody road. They just do their own event. They don't need to be part of E3. Do you know what I mean?
Why not do E3? Why not take over E3? It's in their theater anyway. It says Microsoft Theater.
Well, they are part of the, but they are part of the board, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm telling you, I mean, E3 back in the 90s was magical because I remember walking up the stairs. I don't know what the main entrance was, the Southern Hall or whatever, and you could see through the massive paneling of doors, right, glass panels. You could see Ubisoft, right, and this brand new game, right, new franchise, and it looked so cool. It was Assassin's Creed, right, and then across there was Bandai, there was Namco, there was I mean, it really was a spectacle, but and if there was an E3 now, right, probably most of those games would be sitting under either Sony, Nintendo, or Microsoft, right? How many third parties would actually show up in any sort of bombastic form now? It's that time has gone, right?
I don't know. I think that, just as you rightly said, that just leaves competition and opportunity for smaller developers to grow and take up those spots.
No, I don't disagree with that. What I'm saying, those smaller developers probably couldn't afford the floor space to have a huge stand and have.
Not right now, but I think
again, yeah.
I think, to be honest with you, I think there is at least I can see from the indie aspect of games, I can see titles and gaming developers pushing forward, and I think we're going to see the rise of some indie games moving into mainstream publishing and mainstream gaming. It's I think it's freed up maybe some space, and maybe that's what we haven't appreciated.
Removable, just on your point there, what's interesting? It'll be really interesting because I mean, if there's one game I'm looking forward to this year, it's Starfield. So I'll just put that on record. It's really interesting is that come towards the end of the year, are people going to say, "Oh yeah, Starfield's coming out from Bethesda"? Or are they going to say, "Oh yeah, no, Xbox is releasing Starfield"? Now that will be interesting to see what the common theme will be, right? If Bethesda's kind of out of the way and everyone just says, "Oh, it's coming from Xbox,"
I think the historical context would be Bethesda. Yeah, I think it'll be still in the back of your throat. Maybe for us old folk,
by the end
it'll
of
be
the
Bethesda.
year, by the end of the year, I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see what Microsoft do, how they go about marketing, and if they can retain the Bethesda logo in front of all of their Starfield videos going forward. It's just something to keep an eye out for.
It'll probably be a generation. It'll be Bethesda, March, April, Bethesda, June. August, and then it'll be disappear maybe slightly as it goes further throughout the year.
I mean, how many of us, us old people are the only ones who use the term ZeniMax in the deal. Everybody else
exactly. So some of us still use it.
Yeah.
Goodness, so you can see I haven't been on podcast for a while. I can't stop talking.
That's good. I suppose I think the question I get is now is, what do you expect in terms of new franchises coming through? Do you think there's some new genres that are going to be pushed through now because of these deals, or do you think it's just kind of going to stick with what's already there? What these franchises are well known for.
What's your prerequisites for new genre?
Yeah, I mean,
yes,
that's a good question.
Yes.
Well, okay, it was a loaded question on my part. Well, for instance, the Call of Duties, is your FPSs. Does that mean that Activision may kind of stick with that genre, or do you think with this new acquisition they may kind of push into other areas?
Or do you mean like take Ravensoft and say, okay, Ravensoft Call of Duty is yours, and this other company that used to do Call of Duty, you guys are going to do something else?
Exactly that. Yeah, that's probably a better way of wording it.
And do you think Call of Duty will stick to yearly releases?
I hope.
Is it clever? No.
I mean, with all the complaints I've heard from other people, with all the bug issues in Call of Duty at this point, I would hope they maybe let it bake a little more and get a little more polish on there. We saw how that played out a lot better for Halo Infinite with 343 getting more time. And even it'd be interesting to see if maybe we can get some crossover where you might get skins in Call of Duty from Master Chief or Doom.
Oh, yes.
Or Gears.
Are you talking about a Microsoft Super Smash version?
No, I'm just talking about skins in Call of Duty.
Be
interesting as far as that goes. but no, I definitely expect Activision to keep pushing with, you know, Call of Duty and Black Ops, or if they're gonna just merge it into one, because it's already the same game at this point. It all launches from the same point. If they can try and compress the file size, that'd be fantastic. But
that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
Better file management. Holy crap.
Oh, yeah. And Blizzard is still in the throes of, I mean, we just got the remake of Diablo 2, but they're still working on Diablo 4 at this point. So wait and see how long that takes. Because, yeah, those, I can't remember how long it took for each one of those games to come out, because there was a big gap between Diablo 2 and Diablo 3, where it'd be fun to go back and play the first two games, because I actually got in the third game on Xbox One. I didn't even play it back when it was on the 360. So
yeah, same here.
Could I
so
just
yeah,
ask
but
you-
I kind of, the smaller studios, though, yeah, it is possible they could branch off, and they'll have the ability now with more cash flow to be able to try out more creative ideas and maybe have a little more free reign, as well as now you've got other studios that can collaborate with you, as far as, you know, if you've got like Obsidian, or you've got Bethesda that also works on FPS and id, so you've got plenty of where you can have collaboration between the studios and sharing ideas and techniques and software. You know, they've got a variety of different engines now, between buying ZeniMax and then also coming out with Slipspace for Halo. So, you know, maybe they might look at what, you know, a different engine if it worked better for their game, or, you know, see where they take it from there.
Well, actually, you've got to hit at a point, because I think Italian Clowns, I did mention this in a message to Italian Clowns. I said to him, do you think that Diablo 2 will remove its DRM now? And he responded back, said, it's more likely that they're going to use the anti-cheat for Diablo 2 in Halo. And I was like, that's a thought. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
So,
sorry.
Go on.
I had a couple of questions for Back from the Dead. Is it is it the multiplayer, or is it a specific game that carries bugs for Activision games? Is it the multiplayer, or is it the single player games?
It's the multiplayer, and the multiplayer has been known for rampant cheating on it. They even joked for a while there that they would create a server just for the cheaters on Call of Duty.
Right.
I mean, that's how bad it is over there. And even if you play Warzone, whether you're getting shot through objects or somebody's no-scoping you from halfway across the map and doesn't even have a clean sight of you, yeah, there have been a lot of, it's obviously just like any multiplayer game, it's worse on PC than it is on console.
Right.
The console is getting to the point where there's different, like, even to the point of a battery pack that you can buy for your controller. So there's different ways of cheating now. And with the crossover between console and PC and crossplay becoming more prevalent, you can write software on PC and stick it on a console easier these days. So they have to take greater measures, where there's some games have been able to achieve higher success of getting rid of cheaters, like what is it, Apex Legends, I think, was one of the ones that they were able to crack down on it quite a bit. Right now, Destiny 2 is trying to work out their own situations with it. That still has issues. And there's plenty of other ones where I'm not so sure about, as far as Activision, because Battle.net was used on Destiny 2 before, and their own anti-cheat software, and it wasn't exactly the best. So we could see how, as far as if they're going to use something else with collaborating with other anti-cheat softwares that other companies in Microsoft at this point use. So just kind of a wait and see with that.
I might be being really naive here, but I thought that this kind of thing, I've heard about this thing like 10 years ago, and it's surprising that it still exists today. I can't get my head around it. But then again, I don't play multiplayer games, so I'm not so as familiar. But it's just surprising that. Yeah, sorry.
What happens a lot of times is they find a way to get it to fix it, and almost as fast as the cheaters find a way around it. Which that goes back to the old days of hacking computer games. It's
even
just
on console.
The way they can work around on a console, a lot of times they've had dongles they can plug in to allow mouse and keyboard use, which opens up a whole new realm of stuff. Some of the systems can't detect those additional pieces of hardware. It's invisible to the system, so the system can't do anything about it. So they always find ways to work around. It's always a cat and mouse game with those who want to cheat.
Well, it's like the old adage, isn't it? It's like with any old software, any update creates, for every plus, it normally creates about 2 minuses or 2 breaks. You think you've solved something, but you've broken about 3 other things you didn't realize at the same time.
There's one aspect of this we haven't spoken about, and that's the addition of World of Warcraft, another MMORPG under Microsoft's banner, to go with Fallout 76 and ESO. To me, this creates some really interesting possibilities down the road for me. But
lots of subscribers there.
Yep.
Yeah, more so on the PC side, and definitely there's a lot of expansions for that. Those are paid expansions, right? They're not free.
I think to Removable, your point, right, is that they've bought it, they've got these games, and I think the interesting thing for me is not other acquisitions and what the other companies do, is that Microsoft, I just haven't looked into it deeply enough. Besides, the intellectual properties that sell on an annual basis and whether they continue to be annual or not, it's not for me to say because I don't play them enough. I'm not attached to them in that way. Is how I can understand the Activision and the King, because we've talked about it on this show before, right? In terms of the revenue that in terms of predictable revenue that they generate, but it's how they leverage Activision as a whole, right? And how they take that business that generates $2 billion a quarter, $8 billion a year in terms of revenue, and how they go about increasing that and leveraging the not just the tangible but the intangible assets that they have, right? To another level, to the next level, so to speak. And that'll be as a division, right? Really, really interesting.
Well, and what's going to be interesting, let's say, because it is a PC game, World of Warcraft right now, let's say they decide we're going to wrap it into Game Pass. So all of a sudden you're going to have all these World of Warcraft players who haven't had Game Pass say, well, instead of paying $15 a month just for World of Warcraft, I'll pay $15 or $20 a month for World of Warcraft and all that Game Pass offers me. Holy crap.
Paul,
I mean,
I'm going to say something really controversial here. I think that the Gears of War franchise should be given exclusively to Infinity Ward.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that would be awesome. That would be.
Okay.
Oh.
Look at that. You've killed Stubbs in that one move. He's literally, that's it. He's left. He's had enough. That's it. Yeah.
I think he passed out. Yeah.
he fell over. He's connected. That's it. He's lost connection. Oh, he's back again now. Oh,
are you okay, Stubbs? Take a breath. Take a breath,
He's
Stubbsy.
going to send me a message to say, VJ.
Rod's waiting for you. Don't worry. Rod's waiting for you.
No, let's get Kaczynski back.
I think Paul. Paul is Stubbs is going to send me a message later and say, VJ, I think you should take another 3 months off from the show. Even in June.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, this is because as Back was saying, there's a lot of DLC there, there's extras there. How are they just gonna stick it with keeping that World of Warcraft PC only? Because that's a lot of work to try and make it console orientated. That's a lot of content.
Before, that's
how do you? I mean,
They,
don't get
they
me wrong,
may-
that's
they-
a whole
they-
opening up, but that's just damn.
You know what? There are some games like that I don't think need to be on a console.
No. They
Because
won't
there's so
bother.
many controls and so much. And like
Yeah.
Age of Empires, the most recent one, that's one of them too. There's so much to do that if you convolute the controls too much, it becomes unplayable. You know, or
Well, this is
the other
why-
way is they do it is they dumb it down and they make it so simple that
Well,
that takes
This is where I kind of it frustrates me because they've got the mouse and keyboard aspect, but they're not making use of it.
Yeah,
So
well,
you
that
could-
bugs a lot of
you
us. That
could-
bugs a lot of us.
Yeah,
Can
you
I-
could really seriously utilize that. You could say, actually, we're going to keep it PC orientated and just shove the keyboard mouse dongle into your Xbox and play it like that.
You don't even need a dongle. Usually,
Yeah.
they
Or the- or-
plug in
yeah.
a mouse and a keyboard. The console recognizes it.
Can I perhaps
That's
make
it.
another controversial suggestion?
Uh,
I think
Sure.
that either Tony Hawk or Crash Bandicoot IPs should be handed over for development purpose over to the Coalition.
Who's that? Sorry.
I mean, I see Rare getting Crash Bandicoot and Spyro before.
I don't know if you give it to the
Wonderful.
if you give it to the coalition, is Tony Hawk going to get duck and cover shooting abilities?
Well,
I
tell you what you should do. You should bring Rob back and let him lead that up, Crash Bandicoot. Won't need no multiplayer, so he'd be fine.
Oh dear.
You joke, but I can guarantee you, if they can figure some money spinner off in it, they'll probably do something.
I can see Marcus Felix on a
Rod
skateboard.
Ferguson was good leading up the coalition. It's a lot of the Gears community because no one really knows what happens behind the studio, do they? They don't really know what the truth is, who approved what, etc. So no one really knows. He was good with his time there. No one knows the truth of what goes on, who approves what, or etc. But
He's changed his tune.
he was the guy that removed the of war from the game, thinking he's clever. And he said, "This is an 18 plus game." Remember, he bigged up the no smoking in the game. This is meant to be a badass game by badass dudes in a world that are at war. Do you know what I mean? So, do you know what I mean? It's stupid campaigns.
We've really hit the
VJ,
burn of this unit.
VJ, I'm going to feed off what you said and say we need a Tony Hawk skin in Halo and in Gears. You know,
I really Marcus Phoenix on a skateboard. I really
Give
I really
let
enjoyed
Todd Howard make a Gears of War. He'd make an incredible one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would just take 10 to 15 years.
Yes,
but it would be so good.
it would be.
It
One
would
and
be,
done.
yeah.
That'd be it.
But no, I think it'll be. I just think I think Coalition would do a fantastic job with Crash Bandicoot.
Well, according to sources or whatever, rumours, fuck knows, they're making another game apparently. Don't know what it is. If it's true, probably not. Who knows? But
You never know.
You know we're only
Oh,
winding you up,
nice.
Hobson, right? You only know we're
I know,
Somebody's threatening
I know
to
you're
remove a
having
like.
fun.
Somebody's threatening to remove a like.
Oh
I
God.
know you're having fun. But no, it would be. There's so many. I mean, I do think this deal's good to me. If you're a Game Pass sub, it's bloody good deal because in a few years' time, you're going to potentially have, even if you don't play Gears, Call of Duty multiplayer, you can still, at least there's one campaign every Christmas you can play if it still remains yearly. And if they put the back catalogue in there, that's incredible value for money. You can't.
I can tell you
It's
now,
going to get to the stage where you can't deny Game Pass.
the price is going to go up.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'll fix that.
I wonder how they handle that.
You have to be careful because I think they want Game Pass at quite a high level, and putting it up will prevent people from wanting to try it. That's the problem. They want hundreds of millions of people, not 25 million that they're at now.
Oh, I still think they'll do the $1 deal. They'll still keep that because that is a perfect segue into it. But
Well, get rid of it because people don't shut up about it. Oh,
And I also think, and I've said this before, I think within a year or two, Ubisoft will roll into Game Pass. I'm sorry, I don't think that's what's going to happen. And between that and this deal, I could see Game Pass going up for Game Pass Ultimate for the whole schmear, console, PC, and cloud going up to $20. I think 19.95.
And that's still a good deal. That is still a good deal.
Still a great deal.
Mm-hmm. As long as I can keep my Microsoft rewards and keep rolling it out, there's no problem with that.
Yep, same here. Hey, I'm paid up through the middle of 2023 at this point, so I'm good so far.
Yeah, same.
Removable. I've got a question for you. So before, prior to this acquisition, right, there was always talk of will Game Pass ever appear on other console systems, Nintendo or on Sony? Now with the acquisition of with the Activision Blizzard, do they even need to put Game Pass on Nintendo and Sony systems, or should they?
Well, PlayStation is doing their own version of the Game Pass, isn't it? It's not okay. It isn't. It isn't.
I'm sorry. I couldn't help.
It isn't PlayStation Play Pass, but
obviously, I'm watching your videos.
No, clearly, I would just. I don't think Nintendo needs to. They've got their own thing. They're not going to go anywhere.
Oh, okay, Nintendo. Yeah.
PlayStation, as you rightly pointed out a few times throughout all these podcasts, they have been watching very carefully about this subscription service, and I suspect they have been working out the best refinement for it. As you rightly said, they don't have to jump ahead. They can just watch, learn, look into it in much more depth, and then implement it that suits them best. Now, how that works is going to be interesting, because have they announced how that works? Is it Scarlet? As you said, it's not Scarlet. It's
Spartacus.
Spartacus. Have they actually announced what the aspects of that? Because I think you said about 3 tiers.
I think there'll be 1 tier. I don't think there'll be 3.
I'm out of the loop on this. I don't even know what we're talking about now.
PlayStation Play Pass, Spartacus.
It's a rumor.
It's a rumor. Okay.
Yeah.
One of those rumors. Okay, cool.
One of those
they've talked
rumors,
about it, but a lot of stuff is just rumored right now.
Yeah.
I just think I don't think there'll be loads of tiers. I think there'll just be 1 tier that will like Ultimate, and there might be one that's just like the basic PlayStation Plus. I don't think you'll have 3 tiers. You're overcomplicating things.
Well, look, Xbox did it. Remember, we had games Gold. Then it had Game Pass, and then Game Pass Ultimate.
Xbox did it over 20 years. You can't expect PlayStation to do it in 3. Okay,
no, that's very true. Yeah.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is they have what they've already got. PlayStation Plus, the PlayStation subscription service is PlayStation Plus. I'm going to get this correct. I'm not fully. Again, I apologise if I'm getting this completely wrong. But it's PlayStation Plus is the top tier one, isn't it? At the current stage right now.
I think so, yeah.
And then you've just got your standard PlayStation.
When you've got PlayStation Now as well.
Exactly. Yep. So that's already 3 different tiers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does that mean
you have to pay for them to hold your saves for you? Oh, good God.
Exactly. So
I think that's terrible.
They could easily just flip it a little bit, tweak it a little bit, and just still have those tiers, but just with a better service. We don't know. I mean, again.
And will Ubisoft be like an additional service you can access via your Xbox, or included as a new tier for Game Pass?
Right now it's going to be accessible through the dashboard, separate from Game Pass.
Cool. Yeah, but we don't know the pricing structure of it yet.
No.
Yep.
One thing that has kind of intrigued me is how King is going to work, because clearly that's a mobile-oriented game. Does that mean that will be filtered through the Game Pass app?
No. That's a profit app that they can make big bank on that. That's what they bought for.
They at least for the short term, they may not touch the King games. Why fix what's not broken?
Exactly.
Well, it has to be fed into the ecosystem, because let's face it, people will want to earn their points off it. They still want to earn their achievements off it.
That may take time, but as far as right now, I think the Candy Crush people in India, they're not going to see any changes. I don't believe.
And And sorry, to Paul and Removable, your point is that this is what I'm saying. This is what's far more interesting to me is how do Microsoft go about leveraging that business not only to enhance what the Xbox division is right now, but also to grow the Activision division. Because I don't think they just bought it for the IP. I want to just keep doing what you're doing. There must be a plan there. Besides buying studios and IPs, in terms of how do we turn an $8 billion business into something far greater than it is, and how does it synergistically relate to the main division Xbox and Microsoft as a whole?
One thing they can do with the King games, with like Candy Crush, they can start saying, "Hey, do you like Candy Crush? Well, we have Game Pass for xCloud or whatever, you know." And for this, you can pay this and play all these other games as well as Candy Crush. So there's their in for the mobile market there. And I think that's one of the things they were looking at too, because that's been their big push. Mobile market.
Yeah, if anything, it can just be advertising on all those games. Because all those games are free to play anyway. They mostly, all their revenue comes from microtransaction.
Yep.
I remember I did say a while back on this show, I'm sure I did, that I joked that they needed some kind of big Candy Crush like game in Game Pass.
Well, there they go. They got it.
It ain't happening.
Yep.
Well, why get Candy Crush like when you can get Candy Crush? You know.
Yeah, but thinking about it, if that could be fed into the Game Pass app on your mobile.
Oh, it will. It will at some point. I'm sure.
You can imagine you're playing Candy Crush and you're earning your points and your achievements. Bam, there you go.
Yep. And the achievements and the reward points and the branding will switch. You know, every time you start Candy Crush, it's going to say Microsoft or whatever. You know, so it's all going to be there, and it's just going to become part of it. But the average Candy Crush player that only wants to pay Candy Crush, they're not really. I don't think they're going to see a big difference.
Yeah, they're not going to switch to playing on console after playing on their phone for the last 10 years.
No, I don't think. I think it's going to be. I think it'll be just a Xbox version of Candy Crush on the mobile platform, and it'll be Xbox Crush or something stupid.
Maybe they'll add an Xbox gem. They'll add an Xbox gem. You know.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
I'm supporting them. I'm now installing Candy Crush.
There you go.
I don't know how you're going to find time to play that and the gunk.
I know. No,
he'll just cut out console and be a sole mobile player.
I used to play it years ago, and it's a game where if you crap it, you've really got to spend money. You have.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're crap at that game, you've got a lot of problems. You know.
I haven't played it in years. Well, it's when I used to have an iPhone. That's been quite a few years now.
Who makes Baldur's Gate?
Baldur's Gate was who was it? Because
number 3's coming, right? The third one.
Oh God! Oh, back searching for it. He's doing a quick search.
Yeah.
My own personal series.
He does do that.
I found it.
BioWare.
Yeah.
BioWare.
Okay.
Because I remember seeing the trailer. I don't know why it just popped in my head, but that looked like it could be something special. I hope it is.
Mm-hmm.
The last Baldur's Gate release was a little bit buggy on launch. They had to go clean. I mean, buggy to the point to where the game was broken, which was kind of but
so basically, it wasn't buggy; it was a disaster.
Yeah.
Paul's being extremely polite.
It was day 1 patch, day 2 patch, day 3 patch, day 4 patch.
It was 3 months later. Oh crap! You still can't finish this mission. We need to deal with that. Thanks, guys.
Sorry to put in, but it's not BioWare at all. It's
has that changed? Then?
Well, there's like 6 different developers on it. BioWare, Snowblind, Magic Pockets, Black Isle Studio, High Voltage.
I'm on the Baldur's Gate 3 website, and it says Larian Studios.
Larian, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Larian Studios.
That's what Luke's saying in the chat.
Yeah,
I think
latest one.
That would be an interesting. I don't know what their ownership structure is like, but I think they make good games, or they're threatening to. with Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh God, it's
Yeah,
interesting
that series
times.
has been made by a lot of people, though.
Oh, okay.
I think what's more interesting is that we can have these conversations about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Without disrespecting Gears of War every 5 minutes.
We can
I
try.
don't play it. I don't play it very often. I'm not expecting another Gears till at least 2025. So
No, that's because they'll be working on. That's because they'll be working on Banjo,
Candy Crush.
Tony Hawk's, and Crash Bandicoot. That's
Yeah.
why.
Oh, there we go. Tony Hawk Kazooie. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most
Crash
of the Gears
Bandicoot.
community
Yeah,
I know
Master
are
Chief
not,
riding a skateboard and Tony
are
Hawk.
not expecting.
Oh
another
God,
one
I have just hit on the $1 million mobile game, Halo Crush.
Wow.
Not only would it combine the mobile market, it would combine the Halo market, and it would make millions.
Wow.
Well,
Do you?
hopefully it's supporting one
Here's
of
a
yours
question
pop.
for you. Now that opens an interesting question. That failed, yeah. But what if King was making the Gears Pop and he brought it back a different iteration, and they made a Halo version of Halo Pop?
You wouldn't even have to just limit it to Halo. Think about
Mm-hmm.
If it's the
got
Candy
stuff
Crush way,
like
you can just
Zoom
any game you want.
that uses all the Disney characters, and then there's other. Was it Disney Emojis? Is another mobile game that uses a variety of Disney and Pixar characters. You can do the same thing.
And it's just not limited to the Crash genre. It can because they're used to the mobile genre in essence. They have now picked up a very good backlog of mobile knowledge in terms of how it's built around.
Yep.
Into their ecosystem. They can now really hammer home that mobile market. You know, and as you rightly said, jokingly apart, what stops them shoving all those franchises onto mobile and making them good?
Yeah. I think Removable, what it is, I think we talked about this maybe a year ago when we said when we were talking about Microsoft's partnerships in Korea with
Samsung
and with Samsung and Docomo in Japan, is the fact that they were installing Game Pass for 2 or 3 months. You could download it actually for free. Yeah, you can have access for 3 months, and it's a way to expand the industry, right? Not the mobile gaming industry, right? But to expand using
into that market.
Basically infiltrating that market, advertising Game Pass, saying, "Hey, look, here's games. You can play them on the phone, and the controls have been modified so you can play it easier on your mobile phone. And hey, look, if you want a better experience, you can buy an Xbox Series X. Sorry, an Xbox Series S. If you want the ultimate experience, you can buy a Series X or get Game Pass on PC." And I think that, and again, it's just about leveraging and exploiting and making people aware of the content that they produce, whether it's like a two-way street, right? Content from mobile going to console and console going to mobile. Perhaps the iterations of the games are different, but basically expanding the awareness of Microsoft, Xbox, and obviously Game Pass, right, which is their key profit contributor, right, to the division, and expanding the industry that way.
Yep. Everything is. Go ahead.
No, but that goes into something you said earlier, Paul, where their mobile division is obviously, and their laptop division is obviously alive and kicking, right? And and it dovetails.
Everything is about getting people into the Xbox ecosystem or the Microsoft ecosystem, and we know because their big push has been into the Asian market, mobile is the way to go. By getting King, they've just opened that door. They've just not only did they open that door, they've kind of kicked it wide open.
They obliterated the door. The door's gone.
You weren't trying to advertise death. You weren't trying to advertise Death's Door, were you? Plug that
Death Door, which comes to Game Pass tomorrow. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'm really looking
one
forward
with
to that.
Rainbow Six Extraction.
Yep. It's as you rightly said, once you see the pattern, it starts to fall into place very quickly.
And
as you said, with Samsung having Game Pass now pre-installed on their TVs,
I thought the saying was once you know the goal or the purpose, you can quite easily see the journey, right?
Yep. And I've been stressing the point for almost a year now that the Asian market's been their key. It's been his big push. All this other stuff is just extra frosting on the cake, So, and I hate to say it, it's nice to see that what I thought was going to happen is basically what's happening. So, what can I say? I'm smarter than I look. So,
well, the question is what's going to happen now? Yeah. Come on, tell us what's the next thing. Come on.
Well, now it's a matter of now that they've walked through the door, let's hope they can leverage it correctly.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Because it's all very well you've got your foot in the door.
He's plugging death's door again. Is that tomorrow?
Yeah, exactly. It's what you do with it once you're in the door. Let's face it. You can walk in and people can say no, get back out again. You're going to have to really still work hard to try and keep your foot in that door.
It's going to be hard because they've got to go in there and change the whole culture of.
I wouldn't say they're going to change the culture. They can't change it. They can't change it. They're going to have to adapt to that culture.
Yeah. And just by pushing mobile so much, they're kind of doing that. They're not trying to change the way that culture is.
What I mean is the Activision Blizzard still, regardless, will have a bad.
Oh, I think that's going to happen. I think that's going to happen. That's going to happen the day that Phil takes charge and goes,
that's what I meant. Sorry.
You're out.
I worded it wrong. Sorry.
Yeah. That's going to happen the day that Microsoft takes charge, and all of a sudden people start getting these little notices that their last day is the Friday.
In a way, that kind of. Do you know what kind of is? They're going to have to be. I don't think they can go bullish when they walk into the Activision Blizzard studios because of the tension that's already there.
No,
don't get me wrong. I'm just saying.
The rank and file are going to cheer it. The rank and file are going to cheer that.
Yeah.
Yes, but at the same time, I don't think that because you've got to think about it as like that. Whilst it is a horrendous situation in terms of the harassment aspects, they could be very well used to the way they're doing things. So I'm not talking just the harassment. I'm just talking about how things are created.
No, but that part Phil probably won't touch because he's really big on let the developers.
That's what I'm saying. Some of the people who are in charge of that have set those creations up, so they're going to have to work around bringing back some of the talent they've lost to take on board those spots. Well, my worry is how they bring those people who they've lost, because there was some fantastic talent that left.
Well, they're going to have to get rid of the bad apples.
Without a doubt, yeah. But even still, you still got to try and draw people back.
No, some of those people will come back. As soon as the bad apples are gone, some of those people will go, oh, it's a better place now. Okay, let's give it a shot. We hear working for Microsoft is wonderful, which is true. That's what we hear in general, that Microsoft is a great place to work for. Yes, they're... Go ahead.
Are we talking about talent leaving and coming back?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I would say to that, in my experience, there's now more so than ever, there's talent emerging nearly all the time.
Yeah.
So whether people come back or don't, I think it's all down to smart recruitment strategy and smart people that are able to sort of read between the lines, understand what the studio needs, the type of people it needs in those studios, the skill sets that they need, and the nuances that those individuals carry in terms of can they raise the bar of performance, not necessarily being extremely talented themselves, but it always comes down to very, very smart producers, not just experience, but people that can walk into the room and sort of raise the level and the energy of the environment and galvanize people, bring them together, make them feel that they're not far better than they are, but raise the energy around them to go and perform to the level that they can and beyond for a given set of stakeholders of the game, and as well as the counterparts within the studio. You need solidarity in a game studio. You cannot have division. And the problem is like, if you're talking about bad apples, and that it's not just bad apples. You don't have to be a bad apple. You could just have an attitude, right, that just rubs people the wrong way, that causes division. So it's all about smart recruitment. There's plenty of talent about, especially in California. I mean, you've got the movie industry here, right, and you've got the games industry, and you've got colleges and universities now that are offering extensive courses that are preparing people, cogs that can go in and plug specific gaps. I don't mean to make it sound so sort of trivial. It's just far more than that. But you understand what I'm saying, right? In terms of what they can go and pursue within a games company, and I like games companies where you may go in thinking you're a designer, and then but they allow you to grow, and you figure out that you're a fantastic hard surface modeler, or you're a great texture artist, or you're a fantastic level designer, or whatever, right? Or you want to switch over to writing. So that's why I really like Obsidian. I follow them, and I like the way that they nurture them, they're grown and they're developed. So, as I say, there's always someone better, and there's an army of talented creatives that migrate to California from all over the states and from abroad. I don't know how easy it is for the visa situation in the US now, but it's a little bit difficult.
And there's definitely going to be a transition period, regardless, as people,
Yeah.
I mean,
and that.
Sorry, Paul. I was just going to say, like, if you take like studios like Guerrilla Games in Holland, right? It's not made up of 99% of Dutch people. A lot of that studio is made up of people of creative women, men and women, that are from the Eastern Bloc countries, and even a lot of the film studios that outsource to Soho in London. Even those guys, outsource to subcontractors over in the Eastern Bloc. So, and their salaries aren't huge, but that's how studios like Guerrilla Games are able to expand so quickly and not have a massive overheads, because they don't. But they have huge teams, but they have the right balance of talented youngsters as well as seasoned professionals. And I don't know exactly how studios in the US are structured. I don't know if everyone's a Hollywood superstar that joins these studios, but I'd assume that they have tiers of talent and experience, right, within these studios. And I think what's that studio? Santa Monica. I point to them because they have the most sort of making of videos, and they reveal considerable amount about their studios and how they've grown and developed over the God of Wars, and moved studios and had to let people go and teams go, and how they've corrected the studio structures from the many good things that they've done, but also from the missteps that they've taken. So. And I think if nobody's seen some of those videos, you should watch them, because that would give you a really good idea of how studios have developed over a number of years. So yeah, I don't think there's any issues, to be honest with you, overall.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, we've gone over 2 hours, and I need to take off because I got another thing I got to do. So if it's okay, I'm going to get my little spiel really quick.
I think we should probably call it.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna let me just do this real quick so I can get out of here and transfer to the other thing.
Yeah.
You can find me on Twitch at Cerebral Paul, YouTube at Cerebral Paul, Twitter, the primary one, Cerebral Paul 1, and of course you can find me on Xbox, Cerebral Paul 921. I do shows a lot. I'm not going to list them all right now because I'm in a hurry. So just follow me on Twitter. That's the big one. And thank you for the show. Thank you for the chat. Thank you, VJ, for joining us. It's been way too long since we've had a conversation. Can't wait to do it again. So y'all have a good evening, and I will catch y'all later.
Thanks,
have a good one, matey.
See you later.
Yep. And see you back. Sorry, back. I didn't say goodbye, but I talk to you all the time. So,
Yeah, I'll see you on community game night.
Yep. Probably before that, too.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for coming on Back from the Dead. It was I appreciate you coming on. It's been a fun conversation tonight, it has.
Yeah, it's been a great time. Thanks for having me on.
Do you want to tell people where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Back from the Dead 1. You want to see any older games that I've played, you can search Back from the Dead 1 in any search engine, be able to find my YouTube channel that way. If you want to play some games or chat, or send me a message on Xbox Live or PSN, it's back from Dead 1. Yeah, I try to... But yeah, on Twitch is the only place I'm live on. So I've played a variety of games across all platforms and a little bit of PC, mostly playing on Series X right now.
Okay.
I just have Resident Evil 7 to finish up a complete series playthrough for the Resident Evil 25th anniversary for this past year, and also been streaming a bit of Stardew Valley, as well as trying to mix in some other games. But yeah, again, thanks for having me on. Great conversation as always, and yeah, thanks.
It was good. It's one of the first shows where I believe I don't know if we've ever had a whole, Xbox news topic consume the entire show.
We failed to deviate, and it's thankfully mostly down to Back from Dead.
We did, yes, you're right. It was good. It was good talk. It was.
Yeah, it's a lot of different directions you can take the topic in, so it's pretty easy to go on about that.
It is. It is. Thanks for coming on back. It's good to have you on again. Well, we will get you back. We will.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you'll let me know when you're next on holiday. You will. You normally do.
In a month.
You do. Yeah. So, Animated Evil, thanks for coming on tonight. You've said loads, and I think it's been a great conversation. I know you're not feeling too great, so
no, I feel absolutely terrible. Yeah, thanks for having me. Best place to find me is on Twitter, animated_evil. You will find everything I do on there. Thanks for having me.
Hey, man. Hope you get better, matey.
Hopefully, you feel better soon. And VJ.
Yep.
Thanks for coming on. It's been a great conversation. Definitely.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Sorry, I was going on and on and on. I think.
It bouncing back and forth. That's how we like. That's how we like it here.
That's how you roll.
We need that knowledge.
That's how we roll. We do.
I don't know about that. I think I was going on and on a bit, so I'm sorry about that. And if you want to find me, you'll find me skulking around RemovableSanity's fridge once he's gone to bed.
There's nothing in there, trust me.
Don't worry, I'll fill it up for you.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
These bots are coming to my channel tonight, aren't they? Goodness, I've got to get another one now.
They're following VJ.
They're all Activision employees.
They obviously are, aren't they?
They're all Activision employees.
Another one.
No, that's been happening to every YouTube channel recently. They're just all over the place.
Yeah. Not subscribing to me, but subscriber list.
He wouldn't matter if they subscribed. He'd allow me in. Oh yeah, come on in.
I blocked them straight away.
I was going to say, Stubsan, is that other than all of your Russian cousins that are messaging us in the chat, I just want to say there was a really good turnout in the chat today, and some really good questions. And I just want to say sorry because I think there were some of the questions or the points that were raised. We didn't get to all of them, but hopefully next time we can, because I think they made some great points.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to. Sometimes when you're that in depth in different, it's hard to include it all.
What's that? You can't be bothered. Oh right,
I can. It's even harder when you got like Boom. He has hundreds of people in his chat. It must be really hard to follow that. Yeah, I looked the other day, yesterday, when that was it yesterday news broke. Boom went live, and there was just over 1,000 people in his chat. That must be incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. But yeah, so thanks for coming on again, VJ. It's been
this is a far more exclusive. This is the far more exclusive club, Stubbs.
It is. Because currently you're exclusive to this show only at the minute. So you make your return to Breakfast
until Microsoft buys him.
Full of video.
Now that will be even more. We're talking not 80, 90 billion. We're talking. Easy.
80, 90 billion peanuts, maybe.
And Removable Sanity, thanks for coming on.
Again, thank you very much, and of course, thanks for having our amazing guest back from the dead. It's always great to have him on. You know that he's always a great guest to have on. He always provides the best opinions and counterpoints. Not just he always provides some counterpoints. I always find he picks up something I've always forgotten. And of course, it's great to have that. Again, what also said is, Stubbs said, we'll try and get you on here as soon as possible. Obviously, when around when you're on holiday.
Yeah, either there or a day off. It's just hard earlier because I usually am working at this time.
Yeah, that makes sense. Hopefully, Animated gets better. I know he's been a bit quiet, but again, hopefully we'll get him better. Hopefully for the next one. And VJ, well, we've kind of missed your historical and intellectual capacity just to be thrown at us. You may say you talk too long, but it is very much appreciated. Honestly, it is appreciated, mate. And you should hope to have you on here more regular. I know that you may maybe in and ahhing, but whatever goes with you, we're always going to be proud to have you on, regardless. And you can chat anytime. You know that. And again, thanks for having me on again, Stubbs. Much appreciated. I always love these little chats. You know me. I'm like VJ. We love to talk. Except he sounds intelligent. I just sound like I'm talking out my backside. But if you are desperate, I mean really desperate to follow me, you can find me on Twitter, Minds, YouTube, and Xbox Live under the name RemovableSanity.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a really good show tonight. Monday night, 10 p.m. EST, 5 p.m. EST, 10 p.m. UK time, and 2 p.m. PST. Plastic Platforms podcast returns with myself and Centurion.
Ooh.
Now that's on the Plastic Platforms channel. I
thought he was going to say it's on the BBC Live player, but there you go.
No, I put it on Twitter to advertise it. It's also linked to my channel. There's a playlist for it. If you want to come and check it out live, you can. That's just me and him talking gaming. And I can imagine that we might talk about this, maybe. I don't know.
And Gears.
I don't know. We don't really plan what we're talking about quite often. It's not like I just put the thumbnail up and I don't actually put what we're talking about in the advertising, really.
A man of mystery.
I don't really. Yeah, it's kind of random, but it's good fun. It's a new project anyway, that is. It is. Matt Barnes, thanks for stopping by. Masuku, Luke Steele, and many more. And Pixel, Pixel. It's been a fun show tonight, it has. Yep. Doom Reaper, and many more. It's been a busy chat tonight.
Yeah,
it has.
It's good to see Luke on here as well. I appreciate it.
I'll have to try and get Luke on soon. I will see if I can get Luke on. I will
definitely.
Yeah, Dragon Wolf, Lady Foxfire, and 108
Yep.
Dragons.
Lady Foxfire. I did miss that shout. Yeah, I did miss that one. Yeah, it's hard to shout everyone out, but you got some there. You have. But yeah, thanks for everyone to tuning in. If you happen to download us on Spotify, there's now a rating system. If you could press the 5-star button, it would be appreciated. But if you don't use Spotify, you don't have to. Just if you want to, you can.
I've never used it.
Same on Apple Podcasts as well. If you want to give us a 5-star rating, it would really help.
5 apples.
Boost the downloads. Yeah, 5 apples. It would really help boost the downloads. That's what they tell you, that you get the ratings, it boosts the downloads, but I don't know if it's true. But anyway, thanks for tuning in, everyone, and I'll see you next week. No current guest at the minute at all, but we will see.
Who knows? Who knows?
Maybe
PayPal Stubbs a $5 and he might let you on.
Maybe. We don't know. So anyway, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Have a good one. He's gone.
See you later.
Oh God, I bet he's bugging. He's kicking himself off. He hasn't kicked out everyone else.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Right. I've got to go off and eat something. I'm dying.
Oh God, yeah. I think we're all going to shoot off. Oh, there he is. Now he's going to close this.
Oh, look.
I left the studio. Instead of pressing end broadcast. God, right, here we go. We'll see you all next week. Let's try this again.
Have a great night, everyone.